An episode of This One Time in Kankakee from the WVLI Podcast Network will start right after this. Support for This One Time in Kankakee comes from the Kankakee Area YMCA. The Kankakee Area YMCA is more than just a gym. It's a movement of thousands of people making positive changes in their lives and their community. The YMCA is Kankakee's premier provider of family health and wellness. Become a Y member today at their location on Kennedy Drive in Kankakee or at k3ymca.org. For youth development, for healthy living, for social responsibility. The Kankakee Area YMCA. Support for This One Time in Kankakee comes from Raven Spring Media, where method, media, and mindfulness create impact. From video production, photography, animation, and team building, Raven Spring Media creates compelling content that captures your brand's unique story in a strategic way. With over 20 years of visual storytelling experience, Raven Spring Media brings together creative expertise and a fresh perspective to every project they undertake. Begin your story today at ravenspringmedia.com.
This one time in Kankakee, I raised over $100,000 for my Eagle Scout project.
Welcome to This One Time in Kankakee from the WVLI Podcast Network. I'm Jake Lamore. The voice you just heard belongs to Alexis McCullough. At time of recording this episode, she's a senior at Bradley Bourbonnais Community High School, a varsity wrestler, Miss Chicago's teen for 2026, and she recently became an Eagle Scout. But behind every great leader is a great strategist. For Alexis, that strategist is her mother, Cassandra.
I am the driver. I am the snack packer. I am the schlepping, get it in and out of the car. Preparing to make sure I've printed out enough pieces of paper to hand out to everyone. So the trick about an Eagle project, I can't do anything unless she tells me to, because she's my project manager. So talk about a paradigm shift at home.
Cassandra McCullough is more than just a scout mom. She's the person who watched Alexis transform from a grumpy cat middle schooler dealing with the loss of her father into a young woman who could walk into the mayor's office and demand a plot of land. And you heard that $100,000 price tag.
Yes.
What was your reaction to that?
I said, how are you going to do that? Of course I said yes. Anything that you want, because if you aren't allowed to try, as a child, if you're not allowed to try, you're just pushed down. So of course, let's do it. And she goes, do you know how embarrassing it's going to be if I don't do this? I'm like, well, I guess you better work hard. So get to it. Did I think she was crazy? Absolutely. I'm like, are you sure you don't want to build a bench or something? Put up a flagpole? I mean, we could get it done in a day.
Like Woody Williams, they said that you could build a bench or you can build a monument. And I was like, a monument, because I'm not building a bench. And so even though it would have been like a $15,000 bench. So I went to Mayor Shore and I asked, like, hey, I want to do this Eagle Scout project. Do you have any land? That'd be nice. And he was like, sure. Do you actually think that you're going to get this done? And I was like, well, sure try. Reference to the Bee movie, by the way.
To understand the project, you have to go back to 1995. Cassandra was the designated driver at a retirement party when she met a guy named Mark.
Mark and his friend came and crashed the party, and here's this guy, in his mid-20s, and he just kind of flirted with me, and he went and he asked me for my number, and my aunt's like, don't do it. And I said, oh no, he seems fine. So I wrote it down. He called me. We started dating. A couple months later, it progressed. He asked me to marry him, and we got married in 95, and then he went directly into the military, active duty again, and so we traveled around quite a bit.
Mark McCullough was an Army man through and through. He bled green. And eventually, the military life brought them here, to Kankakee County.
We landed in Kankakee in 2001, I think, and he was working at a factory here in town.
So what specifically then brought you to Kankakee?
Armstrong World Industries. He took a job there. So he was reserve and civilian at the same time. So he got out of regular Army and went reserve. And so we came here and he said, let's start a family.
He was a logistician, so he was basically in charge of logistics and telling people what to do and where to go. He was a really big Steelers fan. That's another thing about my dad. Whenever they got a touchdown, he wanted us to do 10 push-ups. And I was like, why are we doing push-ups if they were getting a touchdown? And he's like, victory! Like, he was really big Steelers fan.
By 2019, Mark and Cassandra were divorced. But they remained deeply connected through Alexis. Mark was living in Texas, and Alexis was a 6th grader in Kankakee County. Then came October.
Mark was on his way to an assignment, and he had a heart attack at the airport. And so one of the things that he did that day is he would say, I'm going to get a hot dog, and I'll text you on the other side. And he went to get a hot dog, and that was the last message that she got. They said that he passed away by the time he hit the floor.
I was on my way home from school. I was having a great afternoon. Then I get off the bus, and there are a lot of cars in my driveway. And I'm like, why are there so many people at my house? And so I go in, and one of my mom's coworkers was sitting inside. My godmother was there. There were just people in the house. And I was just like, that's weird. Normal 11-year-old thoughts. And then I'm told to sit onto the couch. My mom came back inside, and she sat down like across from me, like in the chair that we have across from our couch in the living room. And she basically told me, your dad's been in an accident. When I heard the word accident in my mind, I was like, oh, so he slipped on a banana peel. Oh, so he's fine.
And it's like she didn't hear me and it didn't process. So she went to her room and she just settled in. And then we had to tell her a second time. And that was one of the worst things that I had to do. Like, not only do you have to do it once, you have to do it twice and make sure it sinks in, because kids just don't get it. Like, she came home and the living room was full of all these people that we love. And she's like, why is everyone here? And just getting through that was a lot.
She kneeled on the floor and she had her arms on the bed, and she was looking at me on the bed, and I asked her, I was like, is Dad okay? And then her lip quivered, and she was just like, no.
The tragedy didn't stop there. The family was hit by 6 deaths in 9 weeks. Alexis went into what Cassandra calls a grief bubble, and the outside world didn't always know how to handle it.
The people around her, the kids at school, were like, we're really tired of you being sad. And why don't you let us know when you're done being sad? And so she lost a lot of friends. And it was really hard, and she got depressed. And I was depressed because she's depressed. It changes your whole life, because whether or not you're married or divorced, that's still the father of my child.
To get Alexis out of that bubble, Cassandra gave her an ultimatum. Become an Eagle Scout, or you don't get a driver's license.
She said, fine, when can I quit? I said, as soon as you eagle, honey. I said, because if you're going to drive a car that I own, you're going to be an Eagle Scout. I'm going to get a discount on my insurance.
Alexis didn't just meet the requirement. She decided to build a Gold Star Families Memorial. But she needed a plan. And that's when Voldemort enters the picture. A secret advisor who pushed her to think bigger than a bake sale.
The very first time that she met with someone, and we call him Voldemort, because he wanted to be anonymous. He did not want anyone to know who he was. So she would have these secret meetings at a secret location with her advisor that nobody gets to know about. And he said, listen, you can do a lot of bake sales for $100 a piece, or you can do some events and make some money. Do you want to do a bake sale? And she's like, absolutely not.
I donated $5,000 of my personal money. If you can give anything, that would mean a lot. I was able to partner with Border Town Guns while they were still open. And so like they donated money, different like Snap-on Tools, they donated money, and a lot of different like organizations. And so like not only did people donate money, but also people donated labor, they donated concrete, they donated plants. And so because of that help, it was like I was raising more money, but it was just, I don't have to pay for these things. So then that took the price down too, because like of the connections that I had with Tholins and Bada Bloom and all of those things, they were like, hey, like we have this, we can donate this, like we have this soil that we can give to you. And then so it would be less of, hey, I'm asking you to give me $50,000, and it's like, hey, can you give me some extra concrete?
Alexis took her 35-page proposal to Bourbonnais Mayor Paul Schur. She didn't just ask permission. She gave him a choice. Get on board or get out of the way.
She wrote a 35-page proposal, put it in a white binder with like the cover sheet and all the information, and she puts it down on the desk in front of him, and he never opened it for the whole meeting. And she's like, he didn't open the book because he talked to her. And he's like, tell me about your project. Tell me what you think. Why is this important to you? What are you going to do? What's going to happen if you don't do it? She goes, I'm doing this, whether it's my ego project or not, it's getting done. So I really need you to sign off on it. When can we go to the board and talk about it? That was kind of like my Mother's Day present.
Dedication Day was the culmination of 2 years of schlepping. 300 people stood in the freezing wind at Marcotte Park to see the 11-foot-wide monument unveiled.
That morning, it was very windy. It was very cold. It didn't feel real, like, while it was happening. Like, I feel like I was also in project manager mode. The project was great, but I felt like the dedication ceremony was a project of itself. And so, like, being able to coordinate, okay, everybody has these flags, this is when you come out, and, like, it was stressful. It was very emotional, too.
When you're doing all the things along the way, you don't see the overall impact. And that day, all of those touch points that you've made came back to you. So there are about 300 people to be there that day. And, you know, on any given day that there's 100 other things that you could be doing, but those people chose to be there that day to celebrate that accomplishment for her. And one of the things, I love surprising her. An agency that they fly flags over Ground Zero 9/11, and they presented her a flag that day.
But for Alexis, the most powerful support didn't come from the dignitaries. It came from the people who had been there since the beginning. The Dallas-Fort Worth firefighters who tried to save her father.
We went to the airport to meet the EMTs that were there that day. Like, we emailed ahead and we scheduled time to go see them. So I rented a car and we went to their site, and she had prepared a plaque for them. Then she read what she had written, a speech thanking them. She's like, "You tried your best to save my dad. You didn't know me. You didn't know that you were ever going to know me, but you tried to save a hero, and that makes you my hero." And so she gave him this plaque, and they gave her, swag. And so it's interesting how even now at her Eagle ceremony, they sent a letter to her commending her on her accomplishment and that she's a hero to so many families. And it just, again, it goes back full circle.
Alexis is heading to college soon. She's leaving Kankakee with more than just a trophy case. She's leaving a permanent mark on the landscape. And she's leaving a mother who finally sees her baby as a leader.
One of her things that she talks about is like grief is like a marble in a box. So if you put a marble in a box and you're holding the box, if you're not stable with it, the marble hits off the side. And when you're getting better at managing your grief and you're holding it, and then all of a sudden the marble hits the side, you might not realize it's coming, you don't see it, it twinges and it goes through your body and it consumes you. And then you have to learn how to hold your grief better. The better you do, the box seems to get bigger. And eventually, it doesn't hurt as bad. And when it hits, it doesn't sting so much. But those kinds of things that she has learned and how to describe, I'm marveled at this child.
My dad, he definitely didn't want me to mope. He would be the type of person to where if I was sad or if I was emotional, that he would just literally want me to rub some dirt on it, and he'd be like, "Let's go." His key slogan was "Embrace the suck," and I think that he would be proud, and I think that it definitely isn't something that you think of when you think of losing somebody. You don't think, "Oh, I'm going to build a monument for them." And it's not necessarily for him, but it's because of him.
I don't fear for her becoming an adult. I don't fear for her to learn from a mistake. I don't fear from her. I fear that I have to go down to school and change out laundry and bring her her coat. But then I get to see her, and I'm like, "I'll see you on the court." I'm excited for that next phase of her life.
Grief is grief, and even though she doesn't understand what it's like to lose a dad, she knows what it's like to lose essentially the person she was married to for 30 years. She knows what it's like to lose a loved one. She knows what it's like to lose a brother, a sister. It's similar, it's the same. And so just being understanding of other people is the most important thing that I've learned throughout this journey.
This episode of This One Time in Kankakee was produced by me, Jake Lamore, along with the WVLI Podcast Network. If you have a story you'd like to share, send me an email at jake@milnermediapartners.com and finish this sentence for me. This one time in Kankakee. Listen to all of today's local news in one place.
Checking your WVLI News, I'm Rob West.
The WVLI News Update brings you the day's news in 10 minutes or less. Clear, credible, and on your schedule. Follow now wherever you get your podcasts or at WVLI927.com and click on air. It's all part of the new WVLI Podcast Network. The voices you trust beyond the dial.